Feels like once you see one superbike, you've kind of seen them all. Top of the range builds in the real world get a little bit lost in a sea of similar level spec builds. Nothing really sticks out as special when everything is special. The ones that always catch my interest are the simpler builds that negate any of the extra tech that can hinder a day out riding, or the battle axes of bikes that seem cobbled together by the necessity of staying going, ridden by the minimum wage seasonal resort workers who are there to get in as many laps in as possible for as little money as possible all season.
Carbon cranks, they're minorly cracked, but
I could watch bike check videos for hours on single-speeded bike park builds talking about why certain parts made it onto the bike for the season, but it seems most of those guys are too busy out riding to be bothered making these videos of their builds, so
here I am, not riding mine, making a video about my bike park specific build. Problem is though, in your timeline right now, it doesn't look like this. It's like not together. It looks like this. So right now it's time to do a little bit of development, a little bit of assembly, finally get this thing to where I want it to be as a bike park rig. Welcome to Tinker Tuesday. So first things first is taking off the gyro. This was kind of one of those things that seemed like a fun YouTube build idea. It was fun to have on here. It was fun to try for a couple videos, but honestly, it just kind of didn't work. Like the brake power didn't work as well as I would need to actually use this thing truly mountain biking. So I'm going to take it off for just a typical hydraulic brake setup. The main culprit for bad braking here was this plate. It just flexed too much when you were trying to really stamp on the brakes, so that's all right. Okay, this is kind of the crux of this whole project. Excuse my voice, spacer in my mouth. Fork going in, I got the 1-up EDC threads cut. I've got the EDC top cap that you can't see, and I'm not going to reshoot that. The front brake hose is supposed to go through this. I don't know if the current brake hose that I have is actually long enough, and when I undo it all to put this in and it doesn't fit, I'll probably swear and then either stop working on this today or cut to having solved the problem. You won't really know, but yeah, that is what's going to happen. So one thing that I am doing is I just tightened down the top cap and just took the bike for like a ride just to try and get the headset preload to loosen up like it's going to. It always seems to when you put new stuff on. So I want to get that out of the way before there's a cable running through here and I don't have the ability to do that anymore. So just tightening it down a little bit more, maybe a little bit more than you would want, so that when it does loosen, it gets the headset at the proper headset preload. That's cool. Every other brake caliper that I have run on this bike would make contact at the top of the caliper slot, and this TRP doesn't. Love that.
So despite having left the hose comically long on the brakes at the initial install on the Fart, it still wasn't enough for routing through the steerer on this fork. I ordered 2 new hoses from Papa Bezos, but they'll take a couple weeks to arrive, and it leaves me having the bike park rig set up like this for the time being. But that's hardly an excuse not to swap out the other things I want to change, so starting with this single bolt seat post, I'm going to change it out for the electrical tape shimmed post that was in the worst status ever build. This way I go from the single bolt notched design for setting your saddle angle to a 2-bolt design which offers more adjustment and clamps the saddle rails a little better in case anything happens. I cut off some of the excess length because I'm not going to need it. This thing's just going to live on bike park chairlifts, and then added some lightness because, well, why not? I'm swapping out the spank pedals for a set of black Theories because the bushings in the Spanks got so loose that they'll rotate around if your feet come off, say you're doing a no-footer or a no-foot can, and you're hoping to find that nice flat platform to confidently put your feet back on, where the Theories run a set of sealed bearings with just enough friction to stay where I want them. They also don't rattle after a life of neglect and abuse, and I like that. Pulling off the drive side crank arm just to get a little bit better access at this piece of rubber that I put in here to quiet down the chain slap, take it off and install this stick-on chainstay protector, which immediately started peeling off, so I swapped it out to just wrapped a tube around it. I'm swapping the black Hope rotor that was on the front wheel to the back and putting the blue Hope rotor that I have that was on the Norton onto the front, because I actually don't have any Hope calipers, and the rivets on these rotors hit every caliper, so I figured this is the right bike for it to self-clearance on, and I'll just let it eat itself alive. Thankfully, in the time that I was dragging my feet to get that all done, my brake lines finally arrived and I was able to route them through the steerer, and my local bike park, now equipped with chairlift access, was finally at operation, so took it there to try it out. All right, this will be the first official bike park lap of Mr. Relatable. He needs a new name, set up as a bike park specific build, ready to just be beat within an inch of his life all the time. These brakes, while they're on the Fart, never really got any heat into them, so that's step 1. Find a trail, even though I don't know what any of them are, and get the brakes bed in. Okay, been editing this video for 1 or 2 months now, just kind of like adding in a little bit of clips that I have gathered over that time into it. But I'm realizing now that for a video that was supposed to be showing you my Junkie bike park build, I've not really done that. I've not like taken the time to explain what any of it is. So I think that's a great way to bring home a relatively aimless video. Welcome to GearGab. Okay, in this installment of GearGab with the red bike, I'm just going to kind of tell you what all the parts are, why I chose them a little bit, and maybe even give them just a real quick review. So the frame, you all know, it's a custom geometry steel frame, single pivot design from a company called Merino in Peru. I decided to go with this because 1, steel looks really cool. 2, just single pivot, 2 bearings. That's all that can kind of go wrong with this thing unless it cracks. And if it does, you just like bring it to someone who can weld, like TIG weld, fix it up. No problem. I like that. Low maintenance, good. Buying things for performance? Fork is an older RockShox Yari. I like this level of fork because everyone gets in their head that they need the fork above it. So they sell these for super cheap on like Marketplace or Kijiji, Craigslist, all that stuff. So these are just like dime a dozen. People think they're going to be better riders if they swap out this for the next one up, or like that their bike's going to be better. They're wrong. They won't be better riders because of it, but I love them to death for selling their stuff for cheap. So keep it up, guys. This one's actually leaking a little bit. It might be time for a service with this one, but whatever. I've just been riding it. It's been great. Rear shock Miyazaki Bomber coil with a progressive spring. I bought this because every review ever says, geez, if you got, if you're on a trip or something and you blow up your shock, just go buy one of these. These are bomb proof. These are great. And then Andrew at Granite, who I bought it from, was like, yeah, these are great. The service life, like the service intervals is super long, super easy to work on. And he's been super happy with them. So what I love about it is that it doesn't buck me over jumps like other shocks that I've ridden in the past do. Let's see. Hunt trail wide wheels. These, I have them on here because I bought them a while back. The rear is non-boost. The rims are soft as warm butter. The spokes come loose all the time. The free hub body, little pieces of it come off all the time. Anytime you take a cassette or even my single speed cog off for any maintenance, it just is deteriorating. These wheels are not good. I can't not recommend them enough. If I could get rid of them, I would. But for now, they allow this bike to roll, so I keep riding them. But they're not good. Don't buy them. These are TRP Slate T4 brakes. They're also not good. I've bled these hundreds and hundreds of times. All the modulation and no power. So they're just terrible. Don't buy them. But for this use case, they've actually been pretty good because as much as I like to do bar spins, I'm not really that good at them. And sometimes I'll grab a handful of brake lever on landing, and because these brakes are so low on power and they're so bad, it doesn't like send me over the bars on landing. Like it just kind of, oh, whoops, and then I can take my hands off the brakes and continue to roll. No one's the wiser. So I like them for that. I wouldn't put them on anything else. Terrible brakes. They're really awful. Stem and bar, they've been doing their job. They've been fine. ODI long neck grips, they've been fine. Big saddle, I had a crash last week and I ended up pulling the saddle out of the rail, but I managed to wrestle it back in, which was kind of cool. I'm glad it was able to do that. So Truvative cranks, steel narrow wide chainring, been great, been fine. I want to swap these out to my Merit Battle cranks, like I said, a BMX cranks, but I need a 3/32 BMX like sprocket, which I don't have, and they're kind of expensive to get, so I've sort of been putting it off. Theory pedals, definitely the best. Nice big platform. Pins aren't too long. They won't like absolutely destroy your shins, which I like. And then the reverse components tensioner, it is working great. Loving it. I'm not going to change this bike back to gears or change it really from anything that it is now, except for build a cool indestructible rear wheel for this at some point. Maybe throw like a Title
bar and stem on it, because that's just like what you do. What I want to build for the rear of this is just like any hub. I don't care what hub, but a FR541 DT Swiss rim, because those are supposed to be super indestructible. That'd be cool on this bike. So yeah, that'll be maybe the next thing. Yeah, I should post this video. All right, see ya.